First of all, I'd like to start by offering my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to Coach Knight's family. That's certainly a guy that I grew up admiring and watching his teams, and especially what they did from a coaching what he did from a coaching standpoint in terms of discipline was something I always admired. And I was thinking back last night of the opportunity I got in 2003 to line up against him when Texas Tech came to Kansas State and Bramlage Coliseum, and so that's a special moment for me. Thinking back that I got in a game against Coach Knight and we got the win. So they're 23rd in the country, and they came to Bramlage Coliseum, and we held them to 44 points, and we beat them by 24 points. And I saw Coach Knight get his first technical foul as a Big 12 member. So that was kind of exciting to think back on. So want to send my condolences to his family. Looking forward, it's here. I mean, we're on number 28 practice, and we're excited. Mondays, you look back at the 40 days and you get 30 practices, and it came really fast. And we've had a lot of challenges through those 40 days, but we're here and we're excited. Might be a little bit shorthanded, but we got guys that I think we can count on, and guys that I'm excited to go to bat with. So we're here. We're looking forward to the Monday and getting the season started, and we're excited. Season tickets, I heard nearly 7,000 season tickets are sold, and that gives us as a program, as a coaching staff, as a team, as a unit, a lot of excitement and a lot of we feel that support, and we're excited that our fans are buying into what we got going on. And I've said this before, West Virginia kind of operates with a chip on their shoulder, and we kind of feel like we're backed against the wall, and we're going to fight and we're going to compete, and that's the only way we look at things. So certainly have our challenges. We're not. I told the team the other day, you guys are not. Don't take the victim mentality. We are not victims. We got opportunity in front of us, and we're going to take full advantage of our opportunity. And a lot of guys have sat and put the time in and went through the process, and now it's time to step up and take advantage of those opportunities. We are not victims. So, we're excited. The Mountaineer Nation is backing us, and, we feel that we have that full support, and the more the merrier in the Coliseum on Monday. We're excited to feel that energy and see that Coliseum rocking. On to Missouri State. They're a good opponent, from a very good conference, won 17 games last year. Dana Ford has done a really good job with them. They fought some injuries last year, but they got some really good pieces, and they do some things that could disrupt us in terms of what they do defensively. So we haven't got a great opportunity to see them. These early games, it makes it really hard, especially if people are tight to the vest in terms of their film with their close scrimmage, which we haven't got a chance to see their close scrimmage. And we know they play tonight, a D2 there in the state, so we won't get a chance to see that. It won't be on TV, but it certainly presents a challenge for us because they've seen us play against George Mason, and we won't get a chance to see them. So we got to look back at what they did last year. There's some cohesion there in terms of their coaching staff. He's been there, 5 years now, so we should have a decent opportunity to see what they did, and hopefully they carry some of those things on, and we can kind of prepare from what we saw last year. So looking back to the George Mason game, I thought we did some really good things. We had some adversity there early in the second half with a Cook going down, and if I could take one thing from the game, and somebody I truly respect in the game that was watching from afar said, you guys have you showed a lot of resolve, and I'll take that. Really showed a lot of resolve. You found a way to win when things weren't going your way, and so many different variables. And it started with, our two we had lack of depth at the forward position, and a Cook got 2 fouls early, Jesse got 2 fouls early, so we had to figure out some rotations that we really haven't practiced before. So it got a little sloppy, but regardless, the guys came together even after the medical emergency and figured out a way to come together and win the game. So that was certainly a positive note on that. From there, I'll just open it up to questions.
So you mentioned challenges. Obviously, start with the Cook. There are more important things than basketball. What's his basketball status, and what updates are you getting medically on him?
Our medical staff continues to monitor him daily, and they've done additional testing, and early this week. So, I was a business major, so none of this really, when they start talking the medical terminology, it goes over my head. So I'll leave that up to them. But it's certainly something we work with him every day to figure out what the next step is. So I don't have any further updates for Cook, but as for his well-being, he seems to be in really good spirits and trying to figure out where we go from here.
Do you have no idea if he'll be able to play for you any point this year?
No, I have no idea where that's going to end, and I know in the short term he will not be playing on Monday. So that's how I'm operating right now in the short term.
Coach, did they ever say what happened at the scrimmage or at the exhibition, rather?
No, I didn't get a clear picture of exactly what did happen. I think they're still reading some of those tests, so I'll leave that up to them to answer those questions.
You mentioned last time we talked about being on the boogie board, and you talk about obstacles that you've been presented. I mean, some coaches have one or two. You probably had maybe a dozen. Do you sit in your office and look up and go, well, when are the basketball gods going to look at me differently?
Yeah, the coaches meeting this morning, I said, guys, we're about as as low as it gets, I think, at this point. So, and we still got a smile on our face. We're still coming to work with, it certainly presents a challenge, but within challenges and adversity come a lot of opportunities to learn and grow. And not only from a coaching standpoint and our staff, trying to meet these challenges head on, but also for our players. So, yeah, it looks like, everything's going against us right now, but, maybe the tides are going to start turning. Maybe things are going to start going our way. And that's the way we're going to have to operate. We might get more challenges. Who knows? But from now, go try to win the day, so to speak. Today we're trying to figure out how do we prepare ourselves with what we have going into Monday's game.
And then on top of that, you're following a Hall of Fame coach, one of the winningest coaches in NCAA history, who's here. Do you have to tell people, hey, I'm Josh Eilert, I'm not Bob Huggins, I'm not the same type of person, I'm going to do things my way?
I don't know. I think people know that.
Yeah.
I've been presented a lot of challenges, and I'm not, just like I told our guys, I'm not a victim. I got presented an incredible opportunity, and my opportunity is to lead these young men and put them in the best place to succeed. Certainly, I could hang my head every day, but what good's that going to do? There's a lot of people in life going through a heck of a lot more challenges than what I'm going through on a basketball court. And we haven't even played our first game yet, so we don't know, who's going to rise to the occasion, who's going to step up. And like I said, opportunities are there. They're right in front of everybody to take advantage of, including our staff, including, guys, 8, 9, 10 in the rotation. So we're going to look to them to do so.
Last thing on that, do you block out the white noise and put the blinders on and just focus on what you can focus on?
That's all you can do. All you can do. Control what you can control. That's helped me sleep at night, since day one of getting the job. There's so many things outside of my control that, you just got to let it go and do the best you can with what you can control.
So just to be clear, you're probably not expecting the Cook to play Monday?
No, I do not expect the Cook to play.
Does that open the door for Quinn? Is that kind of maybe how you
Yeah, at this point, on paper, Quinn would be slotting in as a starting four-man, and with Kerr out, it looks like Kobe would definitely be taking the starting nod at the point guard position, and I'm excited about Kobe. Kobe's he's this is his third year in the program. He's played in 61 games. He's very capable, and I have full confidence in Kobe leading the program. So I'm excited about him taking advantage of that opportunity.
Who's your backup point, Jay Kuntz?
That's a challenge that I don't want to go down that road.
Jeremiah Bembry, what's his?
Jeremiah, he's a redshirt freshman. So, yes, he's very capable, and but he hasn't played a college game yet. The closest thing he's got was the minutes we got him at the Vanderbilt scrimmage. So, I probably should have found a way to get him, some more minutes against George Mason. You get caught up in the moment trying to win the game, and you don't think all these things, certainly. But we did get him some very valuable minutes against Vanderbilt, and he held his own. And if we can get him fine-tuned on the offensive end, and I'm not asking a whole lot, I just need to get him to put the ball where it needs to go and just really, sit down and guard, and he can help us.
Did Seth help you there a little bit too, point guard?
Yeah. Seth can relieve some pressure for Kobe. If they put a lot of pressure on Kobe, Seth will be able to handle the ball, and we've simulated some of that in practice, and I don't feel like that's an issue whatsoever.
Josh, if Kobe gets 2 fouls, knock on wood, sorry, but I mean, do you go Bembry? Do you just kind of?
I'm probably gonna end up going Bembry to begin with, and see where that goes, and then I'm not scared to play a smart individual with a high IQ with 2 fouls in the first half. I didn't really want to have to do it with Jesse, but I was shorthanded there in the first half against George Mason, so I knew Jesse at the end of the day was going to do what he needed to do to protect himself. He got 2 back-to-back, number 4 and 5, there late in the second half, but for the most part, he did a pretty good job of staying out of foul trouble between 2 and 4.
Coach, having kind of seen through the exhibition game how games are going to be officiated, certainly the charge block calls, combined with the depth or lack of depth that you have now, do you almost have to, I don't want to say retool, but just tell guys, hey, maybe we can't be as aggressive defensively as what we had talked about in the preseason?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you're going to have to certainly be a little more conservative, knowing you have lack of depth, and that message will be out there. You hate to think like that, especially when you're trying to. Even you look back to George Mason and you say how active is everybody on the defensive end, and you start looking at deflection numbers, and they really aren't even close to where you want them. But then you start looking at your lack of depth. It's like, how bad do you want them out there pressuring and taking chances to get those deflections now? And back to the block charge, I mean, I think some of that's going to loosen up on the primary defender. I know it's a very big emphasis on the secondary defender, on help side. But the defense certainly has an opportunity to hold their ground in their space as a primary defender. And watching college basketball, and I watched several Big 12 games last night on TV, and I did see a couple of times where the primary defender did get the charge. So I think early in these games, I believe it's going to officiate. They're going to side on the fact that most everything's a block, but I think they'll really start to look at some of these primary defenders.
So the emphasis is on the help guy.
It's more, the rule change has more to do with the help defender or the secondary defender.
Do that specific going zone?
Yeah.
Especially with the big man used to it.
Yeah, we certainly have to think of these options, and we simulate a lot of zone in practice just to make sure we're ready to go zone offense. So if we had to throw a straight zone out there at any time, I wouldn't hesitate to do so if I had to.
To Bob's point, just to change up. If a team's on a run, just throw something at him a little different to give him a different look. Is that?
Yeah, we have a couple different options to do
Okay.
that. Like I said, in an exhibition game, you don't want to show your cards, but at the end of the day, you still want to win. So I certainly I knew that was going to be on TV. I knew our first 3-4 opponents are going to be able to see that, and it's an advantage, certainly to Missouri State, that they can see what we did, and if unless they're consistent with what they did last year, it's hard to be able to scout them, especially not knowing exactly what pieces and personnel are stepping up for them.
Looking back on that exhibition, the fact that you were down 10 points, I think in the second half, was that maybe like a blessing a little bit, give you an idea that, hey, this is what this team can do, how they can rally around themselves, maybe a little bit of a gift to you to be able to deal with that?
Yeah, if that's a positive way to look at it. We certainly we didn't exactly run offense like a work of art by any means, but what did we put up, 85 points? So I keep saying our growth is on the defensive end. We got to figure out a way to stop the bleeding when teams are on a run. And what's in basketball terminology, there's such a thing as it's called a kill, when you stop a team 3 straight times without scoring. We only did that twice against George Mason. So we got to get that to 5, 6, 7 times at minimum against our opponents. So, like I said, with the deflections, we only got 15, 16 deflections in the whole game. So our activity on the defensive end certainly needs to step up. But yeah, there's a lot of things we track defensively that we need to shore up.
What changes offensively from Kerr to Kobe, and what do you need to see from Kobe to help fill that role on offense?
I'm not worried about Kobe. I have a high degree of confidence in him. He's always been really steady. He's not going to take probably nearly as many calculated risks, or I guess risks that Kerr might. Kerr is probably more of a guy that's going to, force the issue, where Kobe is going to take care of the ball and be very, very solid with it and get it where it needs to go. So I don't anticipate Kobe having the ball in his hands as much as Kerr, but he's done an incredible job, like elevating his game from last year to this, especially in these scenarios where we're putting him in ball screens. So, but Kobe gives you a lot of things that Kerr can't. Kobe's got his length as a defender is better than Kerr's. His size and strength is better than Kerr's. So on the defensive end, it's a step up. And you can take Kobe and you can put him in a position to post him as well, because he is a big, strong, guard. So you can take advantage of those mismatches as well. So it's a give or take with, Kobe, Kerr. But bigger than anything as an issue to me is lack of depth.
Is it hard with your numbers to even practice? And with that being said, do you go out and scour the student body for a young Josh Eilert who can step off the rec center and give you a little help in practice?
Well, if there is a young Josh Eilert, I hope they walk through the door and introduce themselves. But right now, we have plenty of guys to practice. We haven't had that problem yet. We have less guys, sitting on the sideline, and we probably get through practice quicker now, because you want to make sure everybody, especially when you have 13, 14, 15 guys, get as many reps as they need. And sometimes that comes to the detriment of some of the guys that are playing big minutes. So it might be sometimes, in a way, if you got 10 or 11 guys, a more efficient practice for everybody involved.
One more on Kobe, if you don't mind. He doesn't have to be Kerr, maybe he can't be Kerr, but is it fair to say that he can't be like Kobe the last years? He's been a little bit more aggressive offensively. Yeah,
and we've talked about that with Kobe since he got here. And he's been slow with, pushing that envelope in terms of, his aggressiveness. But his confidence levels are way higher than it was last year. And, stepping up from a sophomore to a junior and a staff that was putting a lot of faith in him, I think that's given him a lot of confidence. And I've always believed in Kobe, and he's one of those guys, and Seth's one of those guys. Those are program guys. JoJo's one of those guys. They just keep grinding. They keep on showing up every day, and eventually they're going to shine.
all the things that we've talked about in terms of obstacles or whatnot, you do have Jesse Edwards, and in a lot of games, he's going to be the best player on the floor. And there was instances in that game, in that exhibition game, where he was dominant. And what did you see from Jesse that you liked?
Jesse, like I said, I think I didn't want to have to force the issue with Jesse. I wanted to come more natural. So we did isolate Jesse as much as we could just to make sure we won the game. I'd like to see him a little more aggressive on the rebounds. I think he probably, in the last 2 games between Vanderbilt and George Mason, probably left about 5 or 6 rebounds out there. And that's put a lot of pressure on our defensive rebounding, especially, Jesse can't be the one, that we all count on to clean everything up. We all want to play fast, but everybody 1 through 5, and that's been the message. 1 through 5 has to rebound, and we got to finish possessions before we move forward.
Consider tweaking some things to what he does well, to fit his skill set instead of him having to fit what you guys want to do?
Tweak his skill set for what?
No, tweak the things that you're doing to fit the things that he's comfortable doing.
Yeah,
as opposed to him forcing him to.
That's what coaching's all about. Every day you got to play to your personnel, and each and every day it's a combination of personnel sometimes that you're playing to, and we're trying right now to figure out with our new rotation. We have 3 days to get these guys as many reps as possible together and build that cohesiveness that we need, starting on Monday. As you saw on during the George Mason exhibition game, you kind of saw that there are a lot of rotations and a lot of lineup combinations that probably weren't used very much in practice, and we had to kind of do it on the fly. And, never in my wildest dreams did I think my 2 guys that I relied on at the 5 were going to be in foul trouble in the first 5 minutes. So I thought maybe one of them. I didn't think both of them would be.
Coach, on Kerr, did you see the statement released by Arizona? I guess what my question is, I kind of have a hard time understanding the situation where the kid's at a school and he took responsibility for accepting the but the school where he's at the time isn't penalized. The school that he goes to does get penalized. I guess I'm looking for a reaction on that. I guess.
Yeah, I'm not worried about what Arizona does or says. And I know there's student privacy laws in terms of Kerr's situation, so I won't get into it. But my message is, we're not a victim. We take responsibility for whatever that is that we need to take responsibility for, and we move forward. And Kerr's going to help us in practice every day. It's not like he can't travel with us or practice with us or be around the team. And I've looked at Kerr for leadership through this. Own your mistakes, which he has. Own your mistakes, and find a way to help us win. He's one of our captains. Him, Jesse, and Quinn. So he's one of our captains, and he can do an incredible amount of good for our program in the meantime, just by mentoring JB, by giving Kobe pointers at running the show. And so, we're excited to move forward regardless of the situation. We're not hanging our head.
The other question is, I obviously don't know the inner workings of the portal and how it's handled and guys, how they're evaluated and that kind of stuff. Does this situation, and I understand he was signed by Huggins, the situation, I don't want to say could it have been prevented, but does it serve as any kind of precautionary tale to what the portal is at all?
I think you might be reading a little more into it, to be honest with you. It's something that didn't happen on our watch, but something that we're dealing with on our end. So
There were a lot of people recruiting him, right? So this would have happened wherever he would have signed.
Right.
Okay.
Ollie, give you any help at all, or is he too raw to really?
I don't know when the first opportunity is. I'm gonna throw him out there. Certainly with the short bench, if we're in a position to throw him out there and it serves our best interest, we will. So he is raw, and he has a fairly good understanding of the game. But at this point, we're just waiting to figure out where he can help us. And when that day comes, I certainly will put him in to do whatever needs to be done to help us win, if that's the case.
On Kerr, is there any way to pinpoint when the I don't care what the violation was, but when it occurred? Whether it was during recruiting at Arizona, was it while he was playing there, was it just before he came here?
I can tell you this: the violation didn't occur on our watch. We're just that's the aftermath that we're dealing with.
Anything else? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.